Good morning, Going Beyond the Lens family and friends. Today I'm going live, hi, I'm Bunny, with Roarie. They will be joining us shortly. We're going to talk about the event that is coming up this weekend. We are excited. And give them a moment to show up. Don't give too much away. Yay, see they joined. Okay. Let's let them in. Yay! Hey.
Sorry, I have to wear my mask. I'm indoors, but I mean, it is what it is. We're in Corona 2021.
Yeah, you're being safe. That's what's important.
It's a good point. How are you doing this morning?
I am sleepy this morning. I usually don't wake up with an alarm, but I did this morning because we had this live and I didn't want to be late. So I got woken up very quickly out of a dream. So I felt really groggy, but I'm a little more awake now.
That kind of leads into what we were talking about. But before I leap in, I'm sleepy too. I typically get between 7 and 7.5 hours of sleep, and yesterday I probably got 5, but that's cool. I mean, it's a day.
No.
Yeah.
Weird. 5 hours of sleep is not enough for me.
For sure. This isn't a consistent, it's what it takes to get through today, and that's okay.
Yeah. Maybe you can take a nap sometime today. Go to bed early.
Yeah, I was going to say, it is what it is. Today's just one of those days I got to get through.
Yeah.
Which kind of brings me to some of the things that we talked about, like routines as self-care. And I have a ton of things to say about this, specifically related to the situation for today. That's kind of my philosophy. It's it's a delicate balance of priorities, what you have available as resources, and where you want to go. And it, for me, is a balance of zooming into the macro and stepping out and seeing the larger picture. And how do you do that? How do you bring routines into your self-care as a practice? What does that look like?
For me, it's something that I usually need in order to not forget important things throughout the day. If I don't brush my teeth, one of the first things when I wake up, then I'll realize at 3 p.m. that I haven't brushed my teeth all day. So I kind of need routines in order to make sure I'm keeping up with my daily things that I need to do in order to take care of myself. Because if I don't turn it into a routine, then I get distracted by other things and it doesn't happen. So it's kind of a necessary thing for me.
That's a really good point. So you're saying that if you don't, say, for example, put it in your schedule, and we're not making it even as formal as that, but if you don't put it in your schedule, this allocated time right here is dedicated to this specific task, then it's easy to deprioritize that task and not do it. And when it comes to things specific as self-care or daily maintenance or even artistic endeavors, things that don't have a purpose or serve production value, then it's easy for those things to slide off of the priority list. And that's kind of some of the things that I do and I say when I'm looking into the macro as well as the big picture. I have a calendar that I keep. For me, writing things out is really important.
Yeah.
So I sit with myself at the beginning of each month and I look at the calendar of the whole month. What do I want to accomplish in this month? And accomplish isn't what's a productive, tangible outlet thing that I'm going to make or create. It's more what things do I want, what goalposts do I want to hit that take me closer to the huge overarching goal? So as an example, I've recently gotten an apartment, but I was sleeping on a mattress on the floor. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I had lived in small, cramped spaces around other things that were beyond my control. And now that I had a room, I wanted to cultivate the space for me and my taste and what I wanted.
Yeah.
And so one of my goals this month was to get a bed. Hence why I only got 5 hours of sleep last night, because I was putting the bed together.
Oh.
As a human being, with my short attention span, is that I underestimate how long projects will take, and I constantly go, oh, wait a minute, 3 hours? That was severely like, it's actually an 8-hour project, but that's cool. So
I definitely relate, like, thinking, oh, well, this thing will just take me like 20 minutes or an hour, but then it takes like 4 hours or like half the day, and I'm like, crap, I did not plan my time well enough, or like I didn't assess the length of time that it would take properly.
Yeah. Part of some of the things that I've been working on as far as self-care for myself is knowing and understanding that that's a habitual thing that I do. Mm-hmm. And the way that I maneuver around that, so instead of working against myself, I just accept, okay, yeah, that's a thing that I do. Cool. With that being said, if I estimate in my brain that this project's going to take 30 minutes, then I put it in my calendar for an hour. The end. Like, and with the bed, I had looked up how long it was going to take, and the estimation was 3.5 hours. It took me longer than that. So even then, it's still a learning process.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, getting upset about, which I'm not upset, but if I were to be upset about, oh, well, this bed took a lot longer, like, okay, is that actually going to get the bed done? No. However, being like, well, the end goal is to get the bed done, and I need to do X and X and X steps. And then when I get the bed done, then I'll be in the place where I feel more comfortable and learning, as you've mentioned in the previous, being okay with the process of it, that's okay too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that we're talking about how a lot of times our plans don't always work out the way we expect. Because for me, routine is one of the things that helps me like cope with the unexpected. Like if, say, I have some project to do and I'm stressed about it, then I have this set of routines or things that I do that like are like soothing to me and like my nervous system, that I know that like, well, at least I have this because this is my everyday thing that I do and this takes care of me. So I'm going to like lean on this thing because I know how it makes me feel. And then with the strength that I have from this thing that I do on a regular basis that I know is consistently like positive and like uplifting for me, then I'll use that strength to be able to like work on or tackle or like dive into this other thing that's an unknown. So that's, to me, it's really helpful. Like knowing, like having something in your day that is like a grounding, like steady, like consistent thing that allows you to use as like a springboard to go into the unknown things.
For sure. It makes sense because you're mitigating your risks. Like this is a known factor and I can replenish and gain energy and feel recharged to move into spaces where I'm going to have to take risks and I don't know and I'm scared and I'm anxious. We can't just like bust open our bedroom door every morning and be like, I'm going to tackle everything. That is setting ourselves up for failure. But if you say, today I'm going to tackle a name specific thing in specific way, then it cuts down on the things that are unknown, spends less time in anxiety zone, more time in focus and being present zone, more time actually getting things done. It's kind of funny because a lot of times folks like to think that like feelings aren't important, but we don't realize how much we're motivated by feelings, right? And so like if I don't name specifically what I want to get done and I don't name specifically how I want to do it, I can spend a lot of time and energy running in circles, freaking out about the thing that I've got to do that I don't understand how to do, and I'm scared because it's all unknown. Oh my goodness. But if I sit down and go, okay, this is what I've got to do, and this is the end result that I want, and these are the steps to get to it, that 15 or 20 minutes sitting with myself, addressing the things that scare me, naming them, helps me actually be productive, sets me up for success.
Having conversations like this with you have helped me in my life already. Like because we've talked about things similar to this before this live, which is another reason why I was like, let's talk about routine as part of self-care for our live today, because I knew you'd be like the best person to talk to about it.
Thank you.
It's so like having these conversations and like hearing the way that you work through things in your own life has helped me to realize things that I could do in my own life, like in my own way, that would help me too. And that's been really helpful for me. So I'm sure that the people listening now would also benefit from this conversation.
Well, it's really cool to see you share your journey and your process. Like you're right. We've had many conversations talking about organizational structures and to add context, like I, as a child, grew up with not a lot of nurturing and care, not a parent. And so I had to scrappily throw a lot of things together and just make that happen, make life happen. And I have a lot of experience of figuring out how to get from point A to point B with limited resources, and having to use a lot of clever or strategic thinking. And so it's not a skill that you can cultivate overnight. So no one should feel guilty about not having this thing. It's definitely a skill that you can learn as a lifelong practice, because there's always times that I'm like, oh, I'm doing that thing and I could, slow down here. It's a lifelong journey. And like on the reverse side, there are times where your particular skill set, the thing that you do, who you are and how you move in the world, helps me reflect. Like you're a very slow thinker and you like to like really mull over things and think about it in details and specifics. And I'm very impulsive. I like making a decisive plan and going. And sometimes I really need to step back and go, wait a minute. I could exert a lot of effort, energy getting something done, but is that the thing that needs to get done? And so your process of slowing down and asking questions is like, this could be beneficial here. I hope money will rub off on me in this really good way.
Yay. Yeah, I think, this kind of relates to what we're talking about, but I think that like having more than one person as like the core of going beyond the lens, like I'm glad that it's the three of us that are like kind of making going beyond the lens happen instead of just like me or like just one person. Because I feel like our individual strengths, like we're able to like lean on each other in terms of the things that like maybe I'm not as good at, but you're really great at, or like Lior is really good at. Like we complement each other and we're able to like see things from multiple perspectives. I think it's been very helpful.
Not only for going beyond the lens, but just in life in general, being able to be around people that are either opposites or mirror you. And that, that's something that a lot of my friends are the opposite of how I think or move in the world. And we're friends because it is really helpful to see, like, one, you can better understand what is for you versus what isn't for you, and also appreciate different ways and perspectives of being in the world.
Yeah.
Speaking of routines and self-care, I think one of the things that I really want to stress for folks, and we can probably dive into, because I am the routine queen, I'll probably dive into this more in the conversation on Sunday, is that a routine needs to be both flexible and inflexible. And that seems like it's in contradiction of each other, they're working against each other, but I can give one clear example, and then maybe I'll have to like tease y'all a little bit so that maybe you'll join the conversation. So for me, for my mental health, it's really important for me to work out 3 times a week. I feel like I don't want to, that's my feeling on it, but I know that I need to. It's kind of like I don't want to spend 2 minutes or even 6 minutes a day brushing my teeth, but I need to. And when I put my workout in my schedule, I work out consistently on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every week. So that's rigid. However, if there's something that comes up, like, for example, I can get a lot of sleep today, and if I don't get a lot of sleep tonight, then I'm not going to be able to work out tomorrow because I'm not going to actually be present, and the quality of workout isn't going to be the same. So I can move it one day ahead, but I still need to work out 3 times a week. So that's the inflexible part. I can move the day, and just knowing what the criteria is, what you're juggling, can help you figure out like what your routine looks like, what's really important, what can be flexible, what can't be flexible.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you want to add to that, Betty?
I think it's really important that you added that like flexibility part, because I feel like sometimes if we have a really strict routine that we know helps us, but when we're like overly rigid about it, sometimes it can start to be like beating ourselves up about it if we like are maybe like missing, like I have to do it by 9 a.m. or, you know, the day is going to be terrible, you know, like being too rigid can be like beating yourself up or like not helping the situation at all, you know?
Yeah.
So I think I really appreciate that you brought up the flexibility part of it, that like you have to do it 3 days a week, but that day can switch around based on like how things are going during your week. So I appreciate that you brought that up, because I think that with the way that a lot of us feel now, like mental health wise, and how our society like makes us think that we have to be perfect and all of those things, like I think it's important to not only have routine and like structure, but also to understand that like things should be flexible and we can like change things around in order to make things easier on ourselves. And that does not mean that we're like cheating or like doing a bad job or anything like that. It just means that we're like being gentle with ourselves and recognizing, okay, in this situation, I do need more time or space or whatever the case may be. Because yeah, it's really not going to help anyone if you beat yourself up about stuff.
See, this is why I figured you would be the perfect person to like throw it back to, because it goes back to the process, right? So like for me, for going to bed, normally I like to have 7 hours of sleep, but I would also like to not sleep on the floor. And in order for me to not sleep on the floor, I'm going to have to sacrifice something. And if I was super rigid, then making the bed would take much more longer than what I need it to take. And so I had to maneuver, be flexible. So today I didn't get the ideal amount of sleep. It's only 1 day in a week, and I have the rest of the week to intentionally go to bed earlier, start my wind down process. Being flexible enabled me to think in the moment, what do I need? Am I serving my larger goal? Is this exactly like going to happen every day? No, then it's okay to make this decision this one time. Yeah. So just be present in the process. Yeah. Let's see. What do we need to tell folks about the event? It's on Sunday. Yes.
Sunday the 28th. So this Sunday, like less than a week from today. It's at 3 p.m. Eastern. It is the conversation part of our like self-love series in September. Why am I saying September? It's February. I guess I'm time traveling today.
Okay, so it's February's topic is self-love. The 3 founders of Going Beyond the Lens get to share their work and expand on the topic, how it shows up in their process. It's a learning space, so we invite the audience to pitch in, talk about their artwork, talk about how it shows up for them. And we talk about, let's see, sometimes things are uncomfortable because we're growing pains happen. Sometimes art is uncensored. Sometimes you see bodies or things that might be confrontational. We try to keep an open mind. And when things are challenging, we lean into it with curiosity. Sometimes we have guest speakers. This time we don't. I'm looking forward to more guest speakers. That would be cool. Yeah. And you can sign up. The link's in the bio. And it's in my bio. It's in Bunny's bio. And I believe it's also in Lior's bio. And there's one more live session on Thursday between Bunny and Lior.
Yay! Talking more about self-love.
It's way more fun to make like faces with a mask on because like you gotta use your hands for everything. I think that's it. Anything else?
I don't think so. I'm excited about the conversation because I think it's going to be excellent, and I'm excited to see how everybody else includes self-love in their artistic practice.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about the community is that having people around who are dedicated to being curious, to opening that door, to learning more, to understand that there is many more perspectives in the world than theirs is such a beautiful and validating experience.
Yeah. I feel like I learn something new every time we have an event. Like, there's some new perspective that I hadn't considered, and like, yeah, it opens up our world. It's great.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I'm going to look forward to seeing your live with Lior on Thursday. Same time, same place. Yeah. And thank you all so much for joining and spending your energy with us this morning.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you at the conversation event on Sunday.
Bye.